You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. Coming up on today's show, we're going to take a look at every free agent on the 49ers active roster, some big decisions that await for this front office that John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, Adam Peters, and the crew are going to have to talk about. Who do they re-sign? Who do they bring back? And who do they let walk? But first, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Fetch Rewards. Download the app right now by going to chatsports.com/fetch. And when you enter that link down below and enter the promo code 49ers, you get 3,000 bonus points. Like Nick Bosa, like Deebo Samuel, who are game changers, this app, a game changer as well. You scan your receipts, you get points back for those receipts, and over time, those bonus points accumulate. That leads to you getting free gift cards. I'll put that link in the comments section as well as the description of this video. Before we break down these 49ers free agents, some key offseason dates to relay to everybody. And of course, we're going to continue to pump out free daily videos here on the 49ers Report and keep you up to date with all of the latest 49ers news and rumors in free agency as well as the NFL draft. But first, March 1 through 7 is the NFL Scouting Combine. That's when we're going to get to see these prospects go to Indianapolis to see how they test. On March 16th, that's when the league year begins as well as free agency. And man, our coverage is going to get litty here on the 49ers Report, so make sure you're subscribed and turn on those notifications. And one of the best events of the entire sports calendar, the NFL Draft, live from Las Vegas, going down April 28th to the 30th. So with that, let's take a look at the 49ers free agents on this roster. Again, these are active players on the roster, not considering the practice squad types. And there are some big decisions to make for this front office. Laken Tomlinson, one of the biggest names on this list, and I think it's one of the biggest duties that the San Francisco 49ers have to take care of this offseason because last year he's one of the best left guards in the NFL. Raheem Mostert set to hit the open market. So too is another running back in Jeff Wilson. Ross Dwelley and Mohamed Sanu also set to be free agents. You can make the argument that the top offseason priority for the Niners is re-signing Laken Tomlinson. He has played in every single game since getting traded to the San Francisco 49ers from the Detroit Lions. And that left side of the line of scrimmage was able to protect Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance when he started games. And when Laken Tomlinson is paired up with Trent Williams, it's one of the best left sides that an offensive line has to boost in the entire National Football League. Now, here's the problem. Laken Tomlinson going to demand a lot of money on the open market. And some of the top guards in the NFL are getting somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 million per year. Right now, the 49ers are over the salary cap. They do have to trim some salary off the books. Maybe cutting D Ford is going to allow them to do that and other moves like that. But would you pay Laken Tomlinson $15 million a year, considering his availability and his very good play as he's still in his early 30s and still has some good football ahead of him? Type Y for yes, type N for no. You let me know in the comment section right now. More offensive free agents. And these are middle tier to lower tier names. Tom Compton, Trent Sherfield, who's a really good special teams player. I actually think that as a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, I'd like to see him come back. Trenton Cannon, Jake Brendel, also going to be free agents. Elijah Mitchell saying on Good Morning Football on NFL Network that Trenton Cannon, one of the fastest players on the roster in addition to Raheem Mostert. So as a return man, you bring him back on the cheap. He could have some special teams value for this football team. JaMycal Hasty. He was really emerging as the second or third running back for this team late in the year, a lot of that due to injuries. He's going to be a free agent. Jauan Jennings was masterful as a third down and big play wide receiver last year. As a former 7th-round pick out of Tennessee, shout out to Petey. He was excellent this past year. Richie James, you really don't need to bring a player like that back. You can find players among the likes of Richie James, but let's focus on Jauan Jennings here. There are only 2 wide receivers under contract going into 2022. Guess who they are? It's Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. Now, that's not much of a concern because a lot of these guys can come back on cheap deals, and there are probably plans to bring a lot of these players back. But in terms of having high-end players, you have Deebo, you have Ayuk, and other than that, nobody else. Jauan Jennings was sneakily one of the best third down wide receivers in the NFL this past year. He was an absolute third down machine. And the numbers that we're about to show you for what he put up in 2022, he's also good in the playoffs and in that week 18 against the Rams. He had 27 catches this year. 23 went for first downs or converted on third downs. Like, that is crazy, crazy production. And to get that production from a 7th round pick is pretty incredible. He's really been able to develop over time, and some of these late to middle draft hauls that John Lynch, Adam Peters, and the front office have been able to identify are key figures in the 49ers culture. Jauan Jennings has been one of those guys because he's a straight-up dog. Which free agent do you think the 49ers need to sign? We're talking about players on this roster that they need to sign. Let me know in the comment section and drop me a name or names down below. As I mentioned off the top, today's show presented to you by Fetch Rewards. This app is an app that I use every single day because every single day I make a purchase and I'm able to scan my receipts and get points back for every receipt that I take a picture of. And this app, as evidenced by the video to my right, is very easy to use and it's free. Open up the app, you hit that orange button, you take a picture of your receipt. You can even take multiple pictures of receipts at a time, and with every receipt that you take a picture of, no matter where you make a purchase, you get points back. And over time, those bonus points are able to accumulate and stack up like Deebo Samuel's wide receiving and running back numbers. So earn points on any receipt from any store or restaurant by plugging in that link down below, chatsports.com/fetch. And when you enter the promo code 49ers, you get 3,000 bonus points. And Niner Gang, we have some work to do. We have some ground to make up with an NFC West rival. Seattle Seahawks today. They just started promoting the Fetch Rewards app on their channel this week, and they have more downloads than we do here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. That ain't cool with me. I don't rock with that. I hate the Seahawks. They've owned us on the football field, so let's reverse that misfortune and let's own them with Fetch Rewards downloads. Download it right now by plugging in that link down below, chatsports.com/fetch. Don't forget to enter that promo code 49ers because 3,000 bonus points get you on the way to getting some free gift cards to places like Amazon, Target, Starbucks, and Fanatics. We shift from the offensive side of the football to the defensive side of the football. It's really unfortunate what happened this year to Jason Verrett. He was the Niners' #1 cornerback, and after he tore his ACL in week 1, the Niners certainly missed him. Now, Ambry Thomas certainly emerged. K'Wan Williams, also a free agent. He's a very good slot cornerback. I think it's wise to let Jason Verrett go because he's been so injury-prone. Kyle Shanahan loves him. He's been a very good veteran leader for this team, but the injury concerns really do concern me. DJ Jones, we'll talk about him here in just a second. K'Wan Williams, Josh Norman, and Marcell Harris, also free agents. K'Wan Williams and DJ Jones, the two players on this list I'd like to see come back to the Bay. And DJ Jones really deserves to get paid. He made the Niners' run defense one of the best in the NFL this year. And from weeks 1 through 9, the Niners were one of the worst run defenses in the league. And Javon Kinlaw was playing a lot during that time frame. DJ Jones gets put into the lineup a couple weeks before that, and then from that point on until the end of the year, the Niners were one of the best run defenses, and DJ Jones was a big part of that. He changed the complexion of this defensive line and actually kind of made us forget about Javon Kinlaw. He's going to get some good money. It all comes down to affordability for him. As for K'Wan Williams, great slot corner. You take a look at some of the Pro Football Focus numbers out there and the analytics. He was one of the best slot corners in the NFL, and that's becoming a position of the utmost importance because of tight end mismatches and guys like Cooper Kupp who line up in the slot. K'Wan Williams is able to guard tight ends and wide receivers. He's a very good cornerback who is going to have suitors on the free agency market. Because of the emergence of DJ Jones, do you think the Niners should part ways with Javon Kinlaw, who in his first 2 years since being a first-round pick out of South Carolina has been somewhat of a bust? You might be able to get decent value back. Mid-round pick, maybe. Type T for trade, type K for keep. You sound off and let me know. What say you? More 49ers defensive free agents. Jaquiski Tartt at the safety position. Tavon Wilson, the defensive back. Dontae Johnson, who really stepped into some big shoes later on in the year and in the playoffs and was very, very good. Maurice Hurst came over from the Raiders, was very good in the preseason. We didn't see much of him during the regular season because of a lingering calf issue. And Arden Key. Let's take a look at what Arden Key was able to do this year. He was a bust for the Las Vegas Raiders, but when he came to San Francisco, JaMycal Ryans, defensive coordinator, moved him to defensive tackle, and he ended up being a game-changing, havoc-wreaking defensive tackle. 6.5 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 17 quarterback hits, and 22 tackles. Alongside Nick Bosa, alongside Eric Armstead, he was fabulous. Now, he signed that one-year deal worth a little north of $1 million. He's going to get a lot of money. So when it comes down to a lot of these marquee players, it comes down to how much money they're going to demand on the open market and how much money San Francisco is willing to pay these players. Arden Key, he too is going to have a lot of suitors in the free agency market. So how much money will Key get per year in free agency? Outside of quarterback, you look at left tackle, right tackle, and edge rusher, as well as defensive line. Man, some of these players outside of quarterback, they're like some of the most valuable players on the team. So other teams might look at Arden Key and they're like, okay, was a bust. With the Niners, he was excellent. We could see him being a 8 to 10 sack guy. And guys like that can get $10 to $15 million per year. Guess the dollar figure for the average annual value for Arden Key. And make sure you subscribe to the 49ers Report by Chat Sports, because during free agency, during the NFL draft, and during the entire offseason, we're going to continue to do our job and push out free daily videos. So hit that sub button. We'll keep you in the know with all things Niners. 3 more free agents to get to: Jordan Willis, Kentavious Street, and Kevin Givens. This Niners defensive line was one of the best in the NFL this past year, and a big part of that, it was their defensive line depth. Now, Jordan Willis, since being the trade deadline acquisition back in 2020, has played good football for the San Francisco 49ers. And of course, he had the monster block against the Green Bay Packers in the divisional round for the scoop and score to Talanoa Hufanga, which helped tie that game up, which paved the way for the opportunity for the Niners to win that game. But man, having a great and deep defensive line can be an absolute game changer in today's NFL. As we know, all of the rule changes cater to the offense. All of the rule changes cater to offenses wanting to throw the football. But if you have a good defensive line that can get consistent pressure on the quarterback, it changes the complexion of games. And that happens so often down the stretch for the 49ers, and that was a huge part of their turnaround. Absolutely monumental, and a big reason why they won 9 of their last 12 games. So if you can retain some of those pieces, like an Arden Key, a Jordan Willis, a Kentavious Street, a Mo Hurst, JaMycal Ryans, maybe his final year as defensive coordinator, stack up the cupboard for JaMycal Ryans, and let's see this defense get after it yet again. Speaking of getting after it, I want you to get after it in the comment section once more. If you didn't already submit your names for which free agent the Niners need to sign, I want you to do that right now and get those names in the comment section right now.